Greetings out there. This is Mike Hill, and you're listening to Plague Diary. I got some news this week. And I hope everyone's doing well. Time marches on. People are getting vaccinated, which I think is cool. I also read an alarming statistic that only 62% of our nation's population is planning on getting vaccinated. So, I don't know. Could be bad. I know that to reach quote-unquote herd immunity, you need 65 to 70% of a population being exposed or vaccinated to the virus. So maybe we can make up that extra 3 or 5% with all these people that are going buck wild down in Florida and Texas who have lifted all regulations and are just going nuts. So, no one, I guess, I guess people are overzealous, believing that this thing is over. But there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm trying to remain optimistic about everything in the face of such vulgar displays of ignorance. But you can only do what you can do. Announcement. This will be the final episode of Plague Diary. That doesn't mean that the show Everything Went Black, the podcast, is going away. It just means that here is the end of the line for episode 26 for Plague Diary. I feel like I've taken this as far as I can. It's been a year of pretty regular podcasts, coming at you from the bunker. I started this when I was still living in Brooklyn, and we had no idea what the future was going to be. It was very stressful, scary times. There were periods when I saw the numbers rising where I thought this was going to be it. This is the end of the world. We're all going to die. But fortunately, we all did not die. A lot of us made it. A lot of people passed. And that's sad. And I think a lot of people could have been saved if we had better leadership in this country. And some people disagree with me on that. Some family members I have actually disagree with me on that. And that also makes me sad and disappointed. But there's not a whole lot I can do about that. I just got to keep moving forward, got to keep on keeping on. And hopefully things change. Maybe they can see things differently as the coming months unfold and we can see what's going on. But back to the podcast. Next week, we're relaunching this entire thing. I'm going to start promoting them. There'll be Facebook, Instagram, social media. The Plague Diary stuff, I kind of kept it like just, I don't know. What's the term I'm looking for? A little bit more intimate, I guess, with people that are already on board. And I didn't want to really promote these things as like, check it out, there's this brand new thing coming out, because it is just basically me talking and sort of going off on these tangents, complaining, like that kind of stuff. There was really no content that would be interesting to someone who isn't already familiar with the kinds of things that I do. So if you're listening to this, thanks for hanging in there. There's definitely more interesting stuff coming down the line. A weekly show. It's going to break down like this. The first episode is going to be The Road to Ruin, which is going to feature me and Randy Larson. My co-host over at Metal Matters, Classic Records. That was what we were doing for the last couple of years. And that'll be one monthly show. We're going to do one a month. Ralph Schmidt and I, another person that you're probably familiar with if you've listened to this podcast and Metal Matters, we'll be doing Unholy Passion. So we'll be doing a show together once a month. That's 2 weeks out of the month. And then the remainder of the month will be interviews with people and not so much like the people that I've chosen to interview aren't necessarily the biggest artists in, someone who has a new album out where their PR people contacted me and they're like, hey, we got to talk about this new record and this and that. It's just people that I think are cool and are interesting. I have some level of admiration for them. I think they're doing good work. And that's going to be the criteria. I mean, occasionally there will be some people that I, probably will be able to, spike interest in casuals, But the interviews that I have in the tank right now is Matteo from Cavera, which is a band that over at Metal Matters we gave him quite a bit of attention to. Great band out of Los Angeles. Matteo was also in 16. He played in Buzz Oven. And he and I met on tour several years ago when Tombs and 16 did like a short 2-week, primarily East Coast tour. So I interviewed him, and really, really interesting. Great stories, like that kind of stuff. I got CC from Zucchini Kale Bakery in Austin. And once again, she was an old road dog, out there driving, playing in bands. She played Guitar Phobia for a while. I met her back in 2010, 12 years ago, when, actually it's not 12 years ago. It's only 2021, so 11 years ago. Getting ahead of myself here. When I was the TM driver, whatever, for Wormrot, the first time they came over to the States, we did a leg of that tour with Phobia, and I got to meet her on the road, and we've been friends ever since. Really cool lady, very talented. She along with some other talented women, runs Zucchini Kale Bakery down in Austin, Texas. So we talked quite a bit about the fiasco that went on down there with the weather and the fucked up governments and that kind of stuff. It's some real left-leaning shit we talk about, because that's where we're at. We're part of the left, and so that might offend some people, but whatever. I don't give a fuck. This is my show. I can do what I want. I got Dave Castillo. David Castillo is the man who kind of, along with Artie and George over at St. Vitus, they created a incredible venue to fill the void, basically, that CBGB's left when that venue closed down. And St. Vitus is it's a spot, man. It's a place that people want to play. It's known internationally. I go over to Europe sometimes, and people know that place. It's a destination on a lot of touring band schedules. And I talked to Dave a little bit about how the last year has been, some of the stuff he's got going on. And I also focus quite a bit on his new project called Confines. And, Dave primarily, aside from being the man behind the scenes over there, promoter, all that kind of stuff, is a musician. And he was the vocalist in White Widow's Pact, which I believe is, I don't know if they disbanded, but they're on an extended hiatus, shall we say. And Primitive Weapons, which is another band. Actually, a little inside info. The very, very first show at St. Vitus was Tombs and Primitive Weapons. And it was an honor, man. I remember when that venue opened up, and this is a long time ago, man. And like a decade ago, at least. Living in Greenpoint, which at the time, Greenpoint wasn't the mecca of. It wasn't a place that people went to, really. It was quiet. There was nothing going on out there. No one really lived out there. They hadn't extended the G train yet. They hadn't built the ferry to get into Manhattan. And it was just like this quiet collection of streets and buildings that when people ask you where you live and you're like, I live in Greenpoint, they're like, why? Why do you live there? You can't get anywhere from there, and it's hard to get the train and all that stuff. So I lived there in the beginning of Greenpoint becoming like this area, this spot, this neighborhood where cool people want to live. Actually, now I think it's not even cool people living there anymore. I think it's straight up like yuppies that live there, or whatever they call them these days. So when they decided to open a venue on Manhattan Avenue, I was like, man, is anyone going to come? It's on the, Greenpoint's on the G train, and the venue isn't even near the train. And I guess the 7 train might be close by, but that's still like another, like a 10-minute walk, and over a bridge. And I didn't know. I had no idea. So obviously I wanted them to succeed, because you got to remember, back in that period, there were really no venues for us, mid-sized to small underground bands to play. CB's had taken up had such a high profile. Like, that was like the legendary spot, and you could be a small band and play there. You could be on tour, and do your thing. And when that place closed, there really wasn't any place to take its, to fill the void, basically. Excuse me. I remember they were doing shows at Union Pool, which you can fit maybe 80 people in there. So, that was, that's cool, but it really wasn't the kind of place where you could really have, a band that could draw like 400 people play there. So that was kind of a bummer. There was nothing going on. So this place opened up, and it was like a real, savior, if you will, of the scene. And a lot of stuff grew around that. Then there was the Acheron out in Ridgewood, and then or Bushwick, actually, Acheron, Bushwick. And in that area, I remember, in addition to the Acheron, there was like tons of lofts, Crouton's House of God. I think I saw a bunch of shows there too. One of the final Anodyne shows was there. There was that whole culture of lofts having shows. There's the Johnson Street spot, or actually last year I saw Bloody Minded play there, and but I haven't been there in years. So it was like a little bit of a going to that Johnson Street spot was like a little nostalgic, I guess. Driving out in the van, when I still had the van. Those like kind of desolate streets, of Bushwick. Not as desolate as they used to be back when I was kind of living towards that neighborhood. I didn't actually live directly in that neighborhood, but I lived on Montrose, which is like adjacent to that desolate, bleak warehouse area that Johnson Street runs through the middle of. Back when I was looking for an apartment, I remember someone had I was going through a breakup. I had to move out. I was looking for a share, and there was an ad for someone who had a room in this spot, and it was on Johnson Street. And I remember getting out of the subway, and I was like, man, this is like, the beginning of a horror movie or something like that. It was like totally quiet, like creepily quiet. And I was like, I hope I'm walking in the right direction, man, and it was kind of like a sketchy area. It's totally different now. Now there's like all kinds of stuff going on out there, but that's going back. So yeah, David came on once again, really cool guest, great interview. And we're going to be doing stuff like that. Talking about records with Randy. Not even just music records. We got some surprises for you guys. Not all the records are musical. And I'll leave it at that. Ralph and I will be doing our thing. We'll be filling out some guests, and I'm looking forward to it, man. It's, once again, Metal Matters is back, they're full swing. Fred and Mike are running that, and, I wish them luck, and I'm really hoping, that they're enjoying themselves and everything's doing well. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to, give a quick update of what's going on, so you can jump on next week And there'll be the beginning of the new era of Everything Went Black. And I hope everyone likes it. And I hope that you guys find it interesting. And I hope we can grab some more people to check it out. And with that, I wish everyone health, safety, and good fortune. And I'll talk to you soon.